The metal floor was cold against Hana's cheek. She woke up slowly, her head pounding like someone had hit it with a hammer. The last thing she remembered was the cargo bay of her ship. Then a bright flash. Then nothing. Now she was here. Wherever here was. She pushed herself up to sitting and looked around. The room was a cage, plain and simple. Thick bars ran from floor to ceiling, and beyond them she could see more cages. Dozens of them. And in each cage sat a creature that looked nothing like a human. Some were tall and covered in scales. Others had too many arms or eyes that glowed in the darkness. One creature in the cage across from her had skin like moving water, constantly shifting and rippling. They all stared at her. Hana stood up carefully. Her body ached, but nothing felt broken. She was still wearing her ship uniform, a simple gray jumpsuit with her name patch on the chest. Her boots were gone. So was her comm device and the small knife she always kept in her pocket. A sound echoed through the chamber. Heavy footsteps. Something big was coming. The creature that appeared was massive. It walked on two legs like a human, but that was where the similarity ended. Its body was covered in thick reptilian scales that looked harder than metal. Its head was wide and flat, with eyes that sat on the sides like a lizard. When it smiled, Hana saw rows of teeth sharp enough to cut steel. "Awake finally," the creature said. Its voice was deep and rough, like gravel sliding down a metal pipe. "Good. I am Warden Kulvax. You are in my arena now." "Arena?" Hana kept her voice steady. "What arena?" Kulvax laughed. The sound made the other prisoners shrink back in their cages. "The Vrexian Colosseum. The greatest fighting arena in this sector of space. You should feel honored, human. Not many of your kind make it this far." Hana's mind raced. She had heard stories about the fighting pits on the outer worlds, places where captured beings were forced to fight for the entertainment of rich aliens. She had always thought they were just horror stories told by drunk cargo haulers. Apparently not. "I want to speak to whoever is in charge," Hana said. "There are laws about taking citizens of Earth. The Galactic Council will—" "The Galactic Council?" Kulvax laughed again. "Little human, the Council does not care about your kind. You are what we call a minor species. Not important, not powerful. Just meat." The word hung in the air like a threat. Kulvax moved closer to the bars. "In 3 days you will fight in the Grand Exhibition match. It is a special event. Very popular. The noble families from across the sector will come to watch." "I'm not a fighter," Hana said. "Everyone is a fighter when their life depends on it." Kulvax turned to leave, then stopped. "Oh, and your opponent will be Vorath, our champion. He has killed 47 fighters in the arena. You will be number 48. The warden walked away, his footsteps fading into the distance. Hana stood at the bars for a long moment. Then she heard a familiar voice from somewhere down the row of cages. "Hana? Hana, is that you?" Her heart jumped. "Do-hyun!" Thank God. The voice was definitely Do-hyun, her captain. "I've been here for 2 days. I thought they killed you when they took you off the ship." "I'm okay," Hana called back. She couldn't see him, but knowing he was alive made her feel less alone. "What happened? How did they catch us?" "Tractor beam," Do-hyun said. His voice was bitter. "We were running a simple cargo job. Then these ships came out of nowhere and grabbed us. I tried to fight back, but there were too many." "How many others from the crew?" There was a pause. "Just us. The others were in the cargo bay when they vented it into space." Hana closed her eyes. The crew had been 5 people. Now just 2. She had known them all, eaten meals with them, joked with them during long flights between stars. Now they were gone. "Listen to me," Do-hyun said, his voice urgent. "You can't fight this Vorath thing. I've seen footage of his matches on the screens they show us. He's huge, Hana. He's fast, and he's killed everything they've put against him. You have to find a way out before the match." "There is no way out," said a new voice. It came from the cage next to Hana's. The creature inside looked old, its scales faded and scarred. "I am called Grix. I fought in this arena 20 years ago. I was lucky. I survived. But I have seen hundreds die. The warden is right about one thing. When you step into that sand, you are already dead." "Thanks for the encouragement," Hana muttered. Grix moved closer to the bars between them. His eyes were sad and old. I do not mean to be cruel. I only speak truth. Vorath is not just strong. He is a perfect killer. His species evolved as apex predators. They have no natural enemies, and he is the best of his kind. What about humans? Hana asked. What do you know about my species? Grix tilted his head. Humans? You are weak. Slow. You have no claws, no armor, no venom. Your bones break easily. You die from the smallest injuries. He paused. No offense intended. None taken, Hana said, though his words stung because they were partly true. A screen flickered to life on the wall between the cages. Images appeared showing different areas of the arena. One image showed the fighting pit itself, a massive circle of sand surrounded by walls and seats that rose up into the darkness. Another showed a crowd of aliens all dressed in expensive clothes, all laughing and drinking. Then the screen showed Vorath. Hana stepped closer to get a better look. The champion was massive, easily 9 feet tall. His body was covered in a dark exoskeleton that looked like natural armor. He had 4 arms, each ending in blade-like appendages. His face was insect-like, with mandibles that clicked and twitched. In the footage, he was fighting some kind of bear creature twice the size of an earth grizzly. The fight lasted less than a minute. Vorath moved with terrible speed, his blades flashing, and then the bear was on the ground, not moving. The other prisoners were watching too. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. You see? Grix said quietly. There is no hope? Hana didn't answer. She watched the footage loop again, studying every movement Vorath made. The way he attacked, the way he moved, the brief moment after each kill when he raised his arms in victory. Hey, human, called a voice from another cage. The creature inside had too many teeth and eyes that glowed yellow. I will bet my food rations that you die in less than 10 seconds. Anyone want to take that bet? Laughter echoed through the cages. Hana ignored them. She moved to the back of her cage and sat down against the wall. Then she started to stretch. First her legs, then her arms, then her back. Basic movements, nothing fancy. The kind of stretches she had done every day for the last 6 years since joining the Earth Defense Force. What are you doing? Grix asked. Getting ready, Hana said simply. She stretched for an hour. Then she did push-ups, then sit-ups, then more stretches. Her body was stiff from being unconscious, but the movements helped. They always helped. They cleared her mind and reminded her body what it could do. Do-hyun called to her a few times, but she didn't answer. She needed to focus. When she finally stopped, it was dark. Most of the other prisoners had fallen asleep. Hana sat against the wall and closed her eyes. She thought about Earth, about the training facility where she had learned to fight, about her instructor. Master Kim, who had taught her that size, didn't matter as much as people thought. Physics doesn't care about feelings, Master Kim used to say. A small fighter who understands leverage can defeat a big fighter who relies only on strength. Hana opened her eyes and looked at the screen, which still showed footage of Vorath's victories. 3 days. She had 3 days to figure out how to survive. She smiled slightly in the darkness. 3 days was more time than she needed. The first full day in the cage passed slowly. Guards came twice to give them food and water. The food was a gray paste that tasted like metal and dirt. Hana ate it anyway. She would need energy. Between meals, she exercised. She couldn't do much in the small cage, but she could move. She practiced footwork, shifting her weight from one leg to the other, always staying balanced. She practiced hand strikes against the air, keeping her form perfect. She had done these movements 10,000 times before. Her body knew them like breathing. The other prisoners watched with confusion. Why does the human keep moving? One asked another. Maybe her species goes crazy before death, came the answer. Hana ignored them. She focused on her breathing, on the feeling of her muscles warming up, on the calm center she always found when training. Master Kim had taught her that fighting was 90% mental. The body was just a tool. The mind was the weapon. On the second day, Grix spoke to her again. I have been thinking, the old fighter said, about what you asked, about humans. Hana stopped her exercises and came to the bars, and I fought alongside a human once, many years ago before I came to this cursed place. His name was Taemin. He was a soldier in the border wars. What happened to him? He died saving my life. Grix's voice was quiet. We were ambushed by raiders. 5 of them against the 2 of us. They were bigger, stronger, better armed. I thought we were finished. But Taman did not give up. He kept fighting. Even when they hurt him badly, he kept fighting. He used the environment against them. Threw sand in their eyes. Used a broken pipe as a weapon. Made them fight in a narrow space where their size was a disadvantage. Grix paused. He killed 3 of them before he fell. I killed the other 2 and escaped. I never forgot what he taught me that day. What did he teach you? That humans do not win by being strong. They win by refusing to lose. Grix looked at her with his old, scarred eyes. But Vorath is different. He is not just strong. He is perfect at what he does. Even Taman would have died against him. Hana thought about this. Tell me about Vorath. How does he fight? Grix moved closer to the bars. He is very aggressive. He attacks immediately, trying to end the fight fast. His species has incredible reflexes, and his exoskeleton is nearly impossible to penetrate. He uses his 4 arms to strike from multiple angles at once. Does he have any weaknesses? If he does, no one has found them. I have watched every match he has fought.
He is always in control.
Always dominant. Everyone has weaknesses, Hana said. Sometimes you just have to know where to look. That night the screen showed footage again. This time it was not just Vorath. It showed different matches from arena history. Hana watched carefully. She saw how the fights flowed. How the sand affected movement. How the lighting created shadows. How the crowd's noise could distract a fighter. She also noticed something else. In every match, the crowd wanted blood. They wanted to see fear. They wanted to see suffering. A fighter who showed weakness was mocked. A fighter who showed fear was already defeated in their eyes. Do-hyun called to her from his cage. Hana, I've been talking to some of the others. There might be a way to get you out of the match. If we can get a message to the Galactic Enforcement, maybe they could— There's no time, Hana said. And even if there was, help wouldn't arrive in time. So what are you going to do? You can't seriously think you can beat this thing. Hana didn't answer right away. She was thinking about her training, about all the lessons Master Kim had taught her, about the nature of combat itself. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest. They had no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. For most of their history on Earth, they were prey animals. They were hunted by creatures with bigger teeth and sharper claws. But humans survived, not by being stronger, but by being smarter, by working together, by making tools, by learning to use everything around them as a weapon. And somewhere along the way, humans learned something else. They learned how to fight things that were bigger than them. I'm not going to try to beat him, Hana finally said. I'm just going to make sure he doesn't beat me. That makes no sense. It will, Hana said. On the 3rd day, everything changed. A guard came to Hana's cage. He was smaller than Kolvax, but still twice her size. He opened the cage door and gestured for her to come out. The warden wants to see you, the guard said. Hana followed him through the corridors beneath the arena. She could hear the crowd above. Thousands of voices cheering and shouting. The sound vibrated through the walls. They reached a room with better lighting than the cages. Kolvax stood in the center, looking at a holographic display that showed betting numbers. When Hana entered, he turned to face her. The odds against you are now 10,000 to 1, Kolvax said. He seemed amused. The nobles are very excited. They have not seen a human fight in many years. They think it will be entertaining to watch Vorath tear you apart. Why am I here? Hana asked. Kolvax walked closer. His massive frame cast a shadow over her. I am going to offer you a choice. You can fight Vorath and die badly. It will be painful. It will be humiliating, and it will last as long as Vorath wants it to last. He paused. Or you can agree to make it entertaining. Fall down a few times. Show fear, beg for mercy. Give the crowd what they want. If you do this, I promise that Vorath will kill you quickly, and I will release your captain. Hana looked up at the warden. And if I refuse? Then both of you will die slowly. Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I'll think about it. Kolvax's eyes narrowed. You will think about it? Human, you do not understand your situation. You have no power here. No options. No hope. I understand perfectly, Hana said. You want me to be afraid. You want me to act like the victim so your audience feels powerful. But I'm not afraid. And I'm not going to give them what they want. The warden stared at her. Then he laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the walls. Such bravery. Such foolishness. It does not matter. Tomorrow you will learn that courage is nothing against true power. He waved his hand. Take her back. The guard grabbed Hana's arm and pulled her toward the door. As she left, she heard Kolvak speak one more time. Enjoy your last night, human. Tomorrow the galaxy will forget you ever existed. Back in her cage, Hana sat against the wall and closed her eyes. She let her mind go quiet, the way Master Kim had taught her. No fear, no anger, just calm focus. She thought about her training, about the thousands of hours she had spent learning how to fight. Not sport fighting with rules and referees, real fighting. The kind where everything was a weapon and the only rule was survival. Master Kim had been old when Hana met him. He had fought in 3 wars and trained soldiers for 40 years. He was barely 5 feet tall and weighed maybe 100 pounds. But Hana had seen him defeat men twice his size without breaking a sweat. Size is just a number, Master Kim would say. What matters is understanding how bodies work. Physics, leverage, balance. These things do not care how big you are. A small force applied to the right spot can defeat a large force applied poorly. Hana remembered the first time she sparred with a large opponent. She had been nervous. The man was huge, all muscle and confidence. Master Kim had watched from the side. What do you see? He had asked her. Someone bigger than me, Hana had answered. Wrong. You see someone who relies on size. Someone who has never needed to learn proper technique because he could always just overpower people. His size is not his advantage. It is his weakness. He does not know how to fight someone who will not be intimidated. The match had lasted 20 seconds. Hana won. She opened her eyes and looked at the screen, which showed Vorath training in a private chamber. The champion was fast, incredibly fast. But Hana noticed something. Every attack followed the same pattern. Right arms high, left arms low. He always committed fully to his strikes. No hesitation. No holding back, that was it. That was the weakness Grix had said did not exist. Vorath was too confident. He had never needed to be careful because nothing had ever hurt him. He fought like someone who knew he could not lose. But in combat, the moment you think you cannot lose is the moment you are most vulnerable. Hana smiled. What are you thinking about? Grix asked from the next cage. My old teacher, Hana said. He used to tell me that the bigger they are, the easier they fall. I never really understood what he meant until now. You have a plan? Maybe, or maybe I'm just crazy. Hana stood and began to stretch again. Either way, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. That night, Hana did not sleep. She sat in meditation, letting her mind prepare for what was coming. She thought about every fight she had ever been in, every technique she had learned, every lesson Master Kim had taught her, and she thought about the 3 seconds it would take to show the galaxy that humans were more dangerous than they looked. The morning came too fast and too slow at the same time. Hana was already awake when the guards arrived. She had been awake for hours, sitting quietly, breathing slowly, keeping her mind clear. Time to die, human, one of the guards said. He opened her cage and gestured for her to come out. Hana stood and walked forward. Her legs were steady. Her hands were loose at her sides. She showed no fear because she felt no fear. There was only the calm focus she had trained herself to find. As they led her through the corridors, she passed Do-hyun's cage. He was pressed against the bars, his face full of worry. Hana, he called out. Remember what I taught you. Remember Earth, remember gravity. She nodded to him once. Gravity. On Earth, everything was heavier. Humans had evolved under stronger gravity than most species in the galaxy. Their bones were denser. Their muscles were built for constant resistance. What felt normal to a human would feel heavy to many aliens. It was a small advantage, but Hana would take any advantage she could get. The corridor opened into a preparation chamber. Other fighters had used this room before her. The walls were stained with blood that no one had bothered to clean. Weapons hung on racks along one wall. Swords, axes, clubs, things Hana had no name for. A different guard stood in the chamber. This one was female, covered in blue scales and wearing armor marked with official symbols. You may choose 3 weapons, the guard said. Choose wisely. Hana walked to the weapon racks. She ran her fingers along the handles of various weapons. They all felt wrong. Too heavy or too light, too long or too short. These were weapons made for alien hands, alien fighting styles. I choose nothing, Hana said. The guard blinked. Nothing? You wish to fight unarmed? Yes, that is foolish. Vorath's arms are weapons. His entire body is a weapon. You will have nothing to defend yourself with. I'll manage, Hana said. The guard shook her head but made a note on her datapad. As you wish. It is your death. Through the walls, Hana could hear the crowd. They were chanting something. It took her a moment to realize they were chanting Vorath's name. The sound was like thunder, constant and overwhelming. "The match begins in 5 minutes," the guard said. "You will enter from the east tunnel when the horn sounds. May your gods have mercy on you." The guard left. Hana was alone. She spent the 5 minutes doing what she always did before a fight. She breathed. She stretched. She let her body remember all the training it had absorbed over the years. Muscle memory was a real thing. Her body knew what to do even if her mind doubted. The horn sounded. It was a deep booming sound that vibrated through her chest. A door opened in the wall. Beyond it was a tunnel. At the far end, Hana could see bright light and hear the roar of the crowd growing louder. She walked forward. The tunnel seemed to go on forever. Each step brought her closer to the light, closer to the noise, closer to whatever waited in the arena. Hana kept her breathing steady, in through the nose, out through the mouth, slow and controlled. Then she stepped out into the arena. The noise hit her like a physical force, 200,000 beings screaming and cheering. The arena was massive, bigger than any stadium on Earth. Rows of seats rose up in all directions, filled with aliens of every shape and size. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing close-ups of the fighting pit. And the pit itself was exactly as Hana had seen on the screens. A circle of sand about 50 meters across, surrounded by walls too high to climb. The sand was stained dark in places, blood that had soaked in from previous fights. Above the arena, floating platforms held cameras that would broadcast the fight across the sector. Hana could see her own image on the displays. She looked small and fragile compared to the massive aliens in the crowd. An announcer's voice boomed from speakers built into the walls. "Citizens of the Vrexian Empire, noble guest from across the sector, today we bring you a special exhibition match." The crowd roared. "Our champion, the undefeated Vorath, will face a creature from the minor world called Earth, a human." The crowd's roar changed to laughter. Hana could hear the mockery in it. The human female stands 5 feet 6 inches tall. She weighs 132 pounds. Her bone density is rated average for her species. Her reaction time is rated adequate. The announcer paused for effect. "She has chosen to fight without weapons." The laughter grew louder. Some aliens in the crowd were falling out of their seats. They were laughing so hard. Hana stood in the center of the sand and waited. She did not acknowledge the crowd. She did not look at the cameras. She simply stood with her feet shoulder-width apart, her hands at her sides, and waited. The opposite tunnel began to glow. The crowd's laughter changed back to cheering. They were chanting again. "Vorath! Vorath! Vorath!" And then he appeared. Vorath was even bigger in person than he had looked on the screens. 9 feet tall, his body covered in black exoskeleton that gleamed under the arena lights. 4 arms, each ending in blade-like appendages that looked sharp enough to cut through steel. His head was insectoid, with mandibles that clicked together as he walked. He moved across the sand toward the center of the arena. Each step was confident, powerful, the walk of something that had never known defeat. Holographic displays showed his statistics. Height, 9 feet 2 inches. Weight, 430 pounds. Exoskeleton rated to withstand small arms fire. Reflexes 3 times human standard. 47 victories, 0 defeats. The betting numbers flashed on another display. The odds against Hana had climbed even higher. 15,000 to 1. Vorath reached the center of the arena and stopped about 30 feet from Hana. He looked at her the way someone might look at an insect they were about to step on. His mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. A referee drone floated down from above. It was a small metal sphere with a glowing red eye. "Standard rules apply," the drone's voice announced. "The match continues until one fighter submits or dies. Interference from outside the pit results in immediate disqualification and execution." The eye swiveled to look at each fighter in turn. "The match begins in 3, 2, 1. But before the drone finished counting, Vorath moved. He crossed the distance between himself and Hana in 3 massive bounds. This was apparently something he did, attacking before the match officially started. The crowd loved it. They screamed with excitement. The referee Dunn did nothing to stop him. It just floated away. Vorath reached Hana in less than 2 seconds. His top right arm came around in a wide arc, but not with his blade. He struck her with an open palm the way someone might swat a fly. The impact caught Hana on the left side of her head and shoulder. The force lifted her off her feet and sent her flying through the air. She tumbled across the sand, rolling end over end until she slid to a stop 30 feet away. The crowd exploded with laughter and cheers. Hana lay still in the sand. Her head was ringing. Her left shoulder screamed with pain. She could taste blood in her mouth. The announcer's voice boomed again, and with a single strike, the champion demonstrates the difference in power. Let us see if the human can even stand. Hana did not move. She lay in the sand, her eyes closed, breathing carefully. Her shoulder hurt badly, but nothing felt broken. The ringing in her head was starting to fade. She had learned something important from that strike. She now knew exactly how strong Vorath was, how fast he could move, how his balance shifted when he attacked, how much reach he had with each arm. It had hurt, but pain was just information, and information was what Hana needed. The referee drone floated closer. "Fighter, you must rise or the match will be called 5-4-3. Hana opened her eyes. She pushed herself up to one knee, then stood. Blood ran from her split lip. She wiped it away with the back of her hand. Then she looked at the blood on her hand, then at Vorath, and she smiled. The smile confused the crowd. The laughter died down a bit. Why was the human smiling? Vorath saw it too. His mandibles stopped clicking. For just a moment he seemed uncertain, but then his confidence returned. He had hit her once and she had flown like a leaf in the wind. He would hit her again and she would break. That was how it always went. He charged forward again, all forearms raised, blades extended this time. He was going to cut her apart. The crowd leaned forward in their seats. This was the moment they had paid to see. The moment when the weak creature died and the strong creature proved its dominance. But Hana did not run. She did not try to dodge away. Instead, she stepped forward. She moved at an angle, closing the distance between herself and Vorath rather than increasing it. This was not what anyone expected. Prey ran away. They did not move closer to the predator. Vorath's attack came down, his blades flashing in the light. But Hana was already inside his reach, too close for the blades to hit properly. She moved like water, flowing around his strikes. Her left hand caught his lower right arm just above the blade. Her right elbow drove up and forward, striking the joint of his exoskeleton at the exact spot where it flexed to allow movement. The impact was precise, focused. All of Hana's weight and momentum channeled into one small point. Vorath felt something he had never felt before. Pain. His arm bent backward at an angle it was not meant to bend. The exoskeleton cracked with a sound like breaking glass. The crowd went silent. Hana did not stop moving. While Vorath was still processing the pain and time seemed to slow down. Hana could hear her own heartbeat, steady and strong. She could feel every grain of sand under her feet. She could see exactly where Vorath was vulnerable. The champion was falling forward, his massive body tilted at an angle where he could not recover his balance. His forearms were flailing, trying to find something to grab, something to stop his fall. But Hana had positioned herself perfectly. She was exactly where she needed to be. Grix had told her about the nerve cluster. Behind the lower right thorax, protected by armor that flexed when Vorath overextended. Hana had watched hours of footage, studying that exact spot, waiting to see it exposed. Now it was exposed. As Vorath fell past her, Hana drove both hands forward. Not a punch. A precise strike with her palms together, fingers locked, all her force concentrated into one point. Master Kim called it the spear hand. It was designed to penetrate between armor plates to find the gaps in protection. Her hands hit the nerve cluster dead center. The effect was instant. Vorath's entire body seized up. His nervous system evolved for a different purpose, could not handle the direct trauma to such a critical point. Electrical signals misfired, muscles locked. His legs gave out completely. The champion crashed face first into the sand with a sound like a falling tree. 3 seconds. That was how long it took from the moment Vorath charged to the moment he hit the ground. 3 seconds to change everything. The arena was completely silent. 200,000 beings sat frozen in shock. No one moved. No one made a sound. Even the holographic displays seemed to pause, as if the cameras themselves could not believe what they were recording. Hana stepped back from Vorath's fallen body. She was breathing hard but steady. Her shoulder still hurt from his first strike, but adrenaline was keeping the pain at a distance. She stayed balanced, ready to move again if needed. Vorath lay motionless. His forearms twitched occasionally, but he could not coordinate them. His legs moved weakly, trying to push his body up but failing. The great champion could not stand. The referee drone finally moved. It floated down closer to Vorath, scanning his body with red beams of light. Then it rose back up and its voice rang out across the silent arena. Match concluded. Vorath is unable to continue. Victor. The human designated Hana. For another 3 seconds, nothing happened. The announcement hung in the air like something impossible. Then the arena exploded, not with cheers, with chaos. Half the crowd was screaming in rage. Fortunes had been lost. Impossible things were not supposed to happen. The natural order had been violated. Aliens jumped to their feet, throwing things, shouting at each other. The other half of the crowd was screaming in disbelief. Some were checking their datapads frantically, looking at replays, trying to understand what had just happened. Others were simply staring at Hana with wide eyes. In the detention cells below, the other prisoners were roaring. The sound echoed through the corridors. Hana could not hear individual voices, but she knew Do-hyun was among them, probably laughing and crying at the same time. The holographic displays began showing replays. The match played over and over from different angles. 3 seconds. The moment Vorath charged. The moment Hana moved inside his reach. The precision strike to the nerve cluster. The fall. Some aliens in the crowd were arguing with each other. This had to be a trick, some kind of human technology. Maybe poison on her hands. Maybe hidden weapons. But the replays showed the truth. No tricks. No weapons. Just perfect technique applied at exactly the right moment. Hana stood in the center of the arena and watched the chaos around her. She felt strangely calm. This was not the first time she had won a fight against someone bigger. It was just the first time she had done it with 200,000 witnesses. Guards poured into the arena from multiple tunnels. They surrounded both Hana and Vorath, weapons raised. The referee drone spoke again. All fighters will return to holding cells immediately. The warden will determine next steps. 2 guards grabbed Hana's arms. She did not resist. They led her back through the tunnel while the crowd continued to rage behind her. As she walked, she heard the announcer trying to calm people down, but his voice was drowned out by the noise. The tunnel was dark after the bright arena lights. Hana's eyes adjusted slowly. Her shoulder was starting to hurt more now that the adrenaline was fading. She would have bruises tomorrow, probably broken blood vessels. But she was alive. They brought her back to her cage and pushed her inside. The door slammed shut with a metallic clang. The guards left without saying anything. Hana sat down against the wall and closed her eyes. She was exhausted. Every muscle in her body was shaking now that the fight was over. She had held herself together through sheer focus, but now that focus was fading, and the reality of what she had done was setting in. Hana. Do-hyun's voice echoed from his cage. Are you okay? That was incredible. I can't believe you actually did it. Before Hana could answer, Grick spoke from the next cage. His voice was quiet but full of emotion. I have seen many things in my long life, but I have never seen anything like that. You moved like water, like wind. The way Taemin used to move, but better, faster, more precise. He paused. You honored the memory of my friend today. Thank you. Other prisoners were calling out to her now, some with respect, some with disbelief. The creature who had bet against her was silent. Hana opened her eyes and looked at the ceiling of her cage. I just did what my teacher taught me. Nothing special. Nothing special? Grix laughed, a sound like rocks tumbling. Human, you defeated the greatest champion in this sector of space. You did in 3 seconds what no one else has done in 3 years. That is very special. Heavy footsteps approached. The prisoners fell silent. Warden Kulvax appeared in the corridor outside the cages. His face was unreadable. He walked to Hana's cage and stared at her through the bars. You have caused me many problems, human, Kulvax said. His voice was controlled, but Hana could hear the anger underneath. The noble families are in chaos. Some have lost fortunes. Others are demanding investigations. They think the match was fixed. It wasn't, Hana said simply. I know that. Kulvax's claws tapped against the bars. I watched the footage. You use technique, precision, things I did not know humans possessed. He leaned closer. But now I am in a difficult position. Some nobles want you executed for embarrassing them. Others want you to fight again. They think Vorath was weak, that any of their champions could defeat you. What do you want? Hana asked. What I want is for you to never have come to my arena. Kulvax turned away from the cage. But you are here, and now I must deal with the consequences. Stay in your cage. I will decide what to do with you. The warden walked away. Hana watched him go, then leaned back against the wall. What do you think will happen? Do-hyun asked from his cage. I don't know, Hana said. But whatever happens, we showed them something important today. What's that? That humans are not weak. We're just different, and different can be dangerous. Hours passed. Guards brought food and water but said nothing. The screens on the walls showed news broadcasts about the match. Analysts were arguing about what had happened. Some called it luck. Others called it skill. One analyst, a being made of energy rather than matter, suggested that humans might have been underestimated. That word hung in the air. Underestimated. For hundreds of years, humans had been exploring the galaxy. They had found that most alien species were physically superior, stronger, faster, more durable. Humans had accepted their place as a minor species, useful for trade and diplomacy, but not important in the grand scheme of things. But maybe that assessment was wrong. Maybe being physically weaker did not mean being less dangerous. Maybe humans had been so focused on what they lacked that they had forgotten what they possessed. Adaptability, intelligence, the ability to learn and improve, the stubbornness to keep fighting even when losing seemed certain. Earth had a gravity of 1g. Most species in the galaxy evolved on worlds with lower gravity. To them, Earth was a heavy world. Humans who grew up there developed dense bones and strong muscles just from existing. What felt normal to a human would feel exhausting to many aliens. And human martial arts had been refined over thousands of years. Techniques designed specifically to let smaller fighters defeat larger opponents. Leverage instead of strength, speed instead of power, precision instead of force. The galaxy had never bothered to learn about human combat techniques because they assumed there was nothing to learn. Why study the fighting methods of a weak species? Hana smiled to herself in the darkness of her cage. They would learn now. Late that night, new footsteps approached the cages. Not the heavy steps of Kulvax. These were lighter, more measured. A figure appeared in the corridor. It was tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. Light refracted through its body in rainbow patterns. When it spoke, its voice was like music. I am Instructor Binna of the Galactic Arena Commission. I have traveled far to speak with you, human called Hana. Hana stood and approached the bars of her cage. What do you want? To offer you freedom. And much more. Hana studied the crystal being through the bars of her cage. Instructor Binna glowed softly in the dim light, casting rainbow reflections on the metal walls. There was something ancient about this creature, something that suggested it had seen many things across many years. Freedom, Hana repeated. In exchange for what? Knowledge, Binna said. The musical voice had layers to it, like several tones playing at once. The Galactic Arena Commission oversees combat sports across 400 worlds. We study fighting techniques from every species. We maintain databases of martial traditions going back thousands of years. The crystal being shifted, light dancing across its surface. But we have no records of human combat methods. This was an oversight. Your match today proved that. So you want me to teach you how humans fight? Not exactly. Binna moved closer to the cage. What happened today will change things, Hana of Earth. Right now, across this sector, beings are watching replays of your match. They are analyzing your movements. They are questioning their assumptions about humans. The being paused. Some will see this as an opportunity. Others will see it as a threat. Either way, your species has become interesting. And in the galaxy, interesting means valuable. From his cage down the corridor, Do-hyun called out, Don't trust them, Hana. This is probably another trap. Binna turned to look in Do-hyun's direction. Though the being had no visible eyes, the captain is wise to be cautious. But I am not your enemy. The Commission exists to regulate combat sports, not to imprison fighters. What happened here today violated several of our regulations. The being turned back to Hana. Warden Kovacs captured you illegally. The Earth government has protections under Galactic Council law. He ignored those protections because humans are seen as minor players, not worth the political trouble. And now, Hana asked, now the Commission is involved. Now there are recordings of your fight being broadcast to billions of beings. Now Earth has leverage it did not have before. Binna's body chimed softly like wind through crystal tubes. I am authorized to offer the following. Your freedom and the freedom of Captain Do-hyun. The return of your ship fully repaired. Financial compensation for your illegal detention. And one additional offer. What offer? The Commission will fund an Earth embassy here on Thuros Prime. A facility where humans can teach combat techniques to other species. You would serve as the chief instructor. The pay is substantial. The prestige is significant. And you would be helping your species gain respect in the galaxy. Hana was quiet for a long moment. This was not what she had expected when she woke up in a cage 3 days ago. She had expected to fight. Probably to die. But definitely not to become some kind of ambassador for human martial arts. Why me? She asked. I'm just a cargo ship security officer. There are better fighters on Earth. But you are the one who defeated Vorath. You are the one in the recordings. You are the one who proved that human techniques work against superior physical specimens. Binna's voice was gentle. Sometimes history chooses people rather than people choosing history. This is your moment, Hana. What you do next will affect how the galaxy sees your entire species. The weight of that statement settled over Hana like a heavy blanket. She thought about Earth, about the billions of humans who lived their lives never thinking about the wider galaxy, about how they were seen as weak, as minor, as not important. One fight had changed that perception. 3 seconds had shifted the balance. What about Vorath? Hana asked. What happens to him? He will recover. His pride is hurt more than his body. But he violated Commission rules by attacking before the match was officially started. He will be suspended for 1 year and fined. Binna paused. He has also requested to meet with you. That surprised Hana. Why? He wants to understand how you defeated him. Vorath has never lost before. He thought he was perfect. Now he knows he was wrong. This has made him curious. Grix spoke from the next cage. The crystal being speaks truth. I fought Vorath species before. They are proud but not foolish. They respect strength even when it defeats them. Hana looked at Grix. The old fighter had been kind to her during her imprisonment. He had shared information about Vorath. In a way, he had helped her win. What about Grix? Hana asked Binna. And the others who are imprisoned here? Are they illegal captives too? Binna was silent for a moment. Some are. Some entered the arena voluntarily, for money or glory. The Commission will investigate each case. Those who were taken illegally will be freed. Those who chose to fight will have their contracts reviewed. I want Grix freed, Hana said. He fought for his freedom years ago and earned it. Kovacs kept him here anyway. That can be arranged, Binna said. Hana took a deep breath. The decision felt huge, like stepping through a door that would not open again once closed. But she thought about what Master Kim would say. He always taught that martial arts were not just about fighting. They were about helping others grow stronger. About passing on knowledge. I accept your offer, Hana said. Under one condition. Name it. Any species can learn at the facility. Not just the rich. Not just the powerful. Anyone who wants to learn human combat techniques should have access. Binna's body glowed brighter for a moment. That is acceptable. In fact, it is admirable. The Commission agrees to your terms. The crystal being gestured with an arm that seemed to form from its body just for that purpose. Guards will release you within the hour. Your ship is already being prepared. Welcome to your new life, Instructor Hana. The being turned and walked away, its footsteps making soft chiming sounds against the metal floor. As soon as Binna was gone, the other prisoners started talking all at once. Do-hyun was asking questions. Grix was laughing. The creature who had bet against Hana was complaining loudly about unfair treatment. Hana sat down and closed her eyes. She was free. After 3 days in a cage and one fight that changed everything, she was going home. But not to stay. She was going to come back. She was going to teach. The thought made her smile. True to Binna's word, guards came within the hour. They opened Hana's cage and Do-hyun's cage and Grix's cage. The 3 of them were led through the corridors to a different area of the facility. This place was cleaner, better lit. It looked like an administrative section rather than a prison. They were taken to a medical bay where doctors checked their injuries. Hana's shoulder was badly bruised but not broken. They gave her medicine for the pain and told her to rest for a few days. Do-hyun had lost weight during his imprisonment but was otherwise healthy. Grix needed more extensive treatment for old injuries that had never healed properly. After the medical checks, they were given clean clothes and shown to comfortable rooms. Real beds, real food. It felt strange after the cages. That evening, Binna came to see them again. Your ship will be ready tomorrow. You are free to leave whenever you wish, but there is someone who wishes to speak with Hana first. They were taken to a large room with windows that looked out over the city. Thuros Prime was beautiful at night, covered in lights that stretched to the horizon. Vorath was waiting in the room. The champion looked smaller somehow, though he was still massive. His lower right arm was in a medical brace. He stood as they entered, but his posture was different from before. Less arrogant. More careful. Human, Vorath said. His voice was surprisingly soft, clicking less than before. I asked to meet you. Hana stepped forward. Do-hyun stayed close behind her, protective. But Vorath made no aggressive moves. I have fought for 10 years, Vorath said. I have never been defeated. I thought I was perfect. I thought nothing in the galaxy could challenge me. He gestured to his injured arm. You taught me I was wrong. Everyone has weaknesses, Hana said. You just had never met anyone who knew how to find yours. Will you teach me? Vorath asked. The commission says you will open a school. I wish to be your first student. The request caught Hana off guard. The great champion wanted to learn from the human he had tried to kill. Why? Hana asked. Because you defeated me with technique I have never seen. Because you showed me that size and strength are not everything. Because I do not wish to be defeated like that again. Vorath's mandibles clicked once. And because I respect you. You could have killed me in the arena. You chose not to. That shows strength of a different kind. Hana thought about it. Then she nodded. Okay, when the school opens you can join. But you'll have to train like everyone else. No special treatment. I would expect nothing less, Vorath said. He extended his upper right arm in what Hana recognized as a gesture of respect among his species. She reached out and clasped his hand. They stood like that for a moment. The massive champion and the small human, connected by mutual respect. 3 months later, Hana stood on the balcony of the new embassy building. The facility was impressive, built with commission funds and Earth government support. It had training rooms, meditation spaces, equipment for every kind of physical exercise. And it had students. Vorath was there, training every day. So was Grix, who had decided to stay and help teach. Beings from 24 species had enrolled. Some were professional fighters. Others were security personnel. Some were just curious about human combat techniques. Hana watched them train in the courtyard below. She saw a tall insectoid being practicing stances with a short mammalian creature. She saw